So this is my old school Nitro NX 882 bass boat. This is a 1999 model. And I know what you're thinking. If this is the first time you've seen this boat on my channel, man, that thing looks good to be an old boat. It's 27 years old this year, which is kind of crazy. But the reason it looks as good as it does, I mean, it's not perfect, of course, but it looks really good for its age, is because about 2 years ago, I picked this boat up and I completely restored it here on the channel with you guys. I brought it into the house. We sanded it down. I redid the gel coat. I redid the floors, the carpet, the console. I even wrapped the motor and got it looking good again. And I've slowly been trying to upgrade the electronics and the technology on this boat to kind of get to the times now. You know, back in '99, we didn't have all these fancy turret systems and the live scope and the dual graphs on the console. We didn't have any of that, so I'm having to kind of modify and build things to make them work with this boat. And that's what this week's video is going to be about, maybe the next couple of weeks, because we're under a winter storm warning right now in Alabama. It's messy outside. I'd rather be in here piddling on the boat than out there anyway. And I've got a lot of stuff ordered that I want to do to this boat before spring gets here. Some of it hasn't got here yet, but we're going to go ahead and start today and get some stuff installed. I want to go over what we're going to be doing. I want to install some stuff. We're going to be drilling some holes in the boat. I always hate drilling holes in a boat or a kayak, but today we're going to be drilling some holes. We're going to be running some wires. We're going to update this live well. This live well I've had some fish die in that live well, and I don't like it, especially when you're fishing like a 5-fish bass tournament with somebody. Your fish got to be alive, so I don't want that to happen. I want to upgrade the live well. I've got some stuff ordered to do that, and then we're going to upgrade some electronics on this thing. So let me show you what I got and where we're going to get started. Let me climb on in here so I can actually talk to you guys and not have to talk to you across the boat. Hopefully you guys can see me right here. I want to show you the first thing that I'm going to probably be starting with is adding some interior lights, some deck lights, some floor lights, and some lights for inside of the hatch. New boats nowadays, they come with that kind of stuff, and you've got a nice push button panel to control everything. And that's the plan for the next couple of weeks. I am going to be installing and rewiring probably all of the wires in this boat. Now, when I say the wires for the boat, I mean live well and lights and stuff like that. I've got these rewired whenever I installed all the graphs, so they're good the way they are. But I do want to upgrade the switch system for the live wells. I'm going to convert everything over to a push button. But we're going to start by installing some cool deck lights, floor lights, and some of the rear deck lights. And I found these, and I've used lights like this before in the past on kayaks, and they work really good. But I've never seen them kind of in this way. So I want to show you, these are the lights that I'm going with. And let me get over here a little bit closer. Maybe y'all can see better. So I'm going with these style lights. That's the brand name, and I'll link everything I use in these videos in the video description below. But these work great because you drill one hole and they've got a grommet, they're waterproof, they're dustproof, and they kind of lock right into place. The only downfall is the hole that you drill is a pretty good size hole. You got to drill a 3/4 inch hole, and then you pop the light in the hole and wire everything on the back. I like it though because it's a flush mount design. It's kind of small, and once they're installed, they're kind of hidden. You know, you don't really pay attention to them when you mount them up. But these are kind of different than what I've always installed. As you can see, this light has 3 wires instead of 2. It's got a black and a white and a blue. Now, the reason it's got 3 is because this is a 2-tone light. So it's got 2 different lights in one. It's got your regular white light so that you can click on a button and light up and see what you're doing. And then I went with a blue light. So that's what the blue wire's for. I've got a blue light on this now so that I can have a separate button if I don't want to. If it's too bright, you know, for a white light in the morning, I can hit it and do blue. Now, you can get these in different colors. You don't have to just choose blue or white. When I found these on Amazon, they had several different options. I had them in the cart, and then I switched to the blue. I almost went with green because the boat's green and, you know, my kayak's green. And the green lights do look good. But for a cleaner look and to actually use it, I think I would use the blue light more. You know, and late at night when I didn't want it to be too bright, I think the blue light will do better. But let me grab a power bank. Let me see if I can reach it from my boat without breaking my neck here. We're going to check these out really quick while I'm thinking about it with you. I got my little Dakota lithium power bank here. this thing comes in handy for testing stuff like this. So I'm assuming we can just touch it, turn the power on. The black is definitely, I hope it's the ground. So let me just stick it in here. And then, there we go. Wow, the blue is bright. Can y'all see that? Hold on. There it is. See that blue light? And once we get them all hooked up, you'll be able to see them. And then you got a white light. There's the white light. Come on. Yeah, it's very, very bright. See that? And then we got the blue light, which is going to be very, very bright. I like that blue, though. The blue's super clean. There, can y'all even see that? Hold up. There we go. Y'all see that blue light? And I'll turn the lights off once we get everything installed. But I like that because I get two options to install. I don't have to install two separate lights and drill two separate holes and run separate wires. This is 3 wires. I got a ground, and then one of these will go to a white push button and one of them will go to a blue push button. Once we get that far back here, I'm going to install the switch panel. That's kind of one of the things I'm waiting on. Hopefully it arrives and we can do it in this video. If not, I got a lot to do, so we'll probably end up doing 2 videos. But my plan is I've got 2 packs of 10 of these. So I got 20 lights. I probably won't use all 20, but it should be enough for me to add them where I want to add them. And I think the plan is going to be kind of around here like this, and I'll measure and we'll set them out where they'll go. And kind of, it'll probably take me forever to figure out exactly where I want to put them before I start drilling holes. But I might do 2 up there, and then maybe 2 back there. Match that on this side, and then of course I'm going to have some in the floor. And I may put the floor lights, the rear lights, and the front lights on different buttons as well, so that they all don't come together. I've got an 8-gang switch panel coming, so I'll have 8 buttons for the lights. But I'm also wanting to switch my live well over to those push buttons too on the switch panel. So I won't be able to pick and choose. Maybe I'll have to do, just all blue lights or all white lights on 2 separate buttons if I run out of buttons. But we'll see when we get there. The way I'm going to be wiring all this up is same way I use kayaks and boat trailers. I always get the marine grade wire. You can tell because it'll be a white wire like this. This is a double 14 gauge wire. You don't have to use 14 gauge with lights like this, but since I'm going to be kind of pigtailing all these lights around the boat, I didn't want to go with a 16. I wanted to step it up a little bit, so I went with a 14 gauge marine insulated wire. The red and black wire are in here, and then we'll just jump everything around. I will have to double my ground up probably, because since these are 3, one of these will be for the white, then your ground, and I'll have to double up another wire to get the blue light ran, but it should work just fine. And then the next thing that we're going to do, something I'm kind of excited about, is the live well. Let me show you what I got for the live well. So my live well, and when we get to it, I think I'm going to try to draw it out to show you guys why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I got this Flow Right Pump Out Aerator Combo Kit off of Amazon. And all this does is you replace one of your aerators, if you got your live well and you turn your water on and it pumps water into your live well. Well, you got that little spigot at the top of your live well that brings the water in. These boats back in '99, you didn't have a way to pump water out of the live well. Guys with newer boats, you hit a pump out button and you hold your bag to the side of the boat, and you got a little porthole, which this included. We're going to be drilling a hole for this in the boat, but it pumps the water out of the live well into your fill bag. And then once I get some water in there, you can, throw your bass in there or whatever. But what this also does is it allows me to aerate the water on a circulation. So I'll be able to push and pull this little red button in to switch it from pumping the water out to aerating the water and adding air into the water at a high pressure. So, and I'll be able to do all of that by using my factory 500 gallons per minute, I believe, or gallons per hour pumps that are already back there. It's already got 2 pumps back there. My live well does okay now, but it has a recirculation, but it's just not that good at aerating the water. So I'm hoping this helps, and I'll get add the benefit of being able to pump my water out Now what I'm having to do is I literally have to set it on empty and then get up under the motor and behind the boat at the very bottom to get water, because it's just like pulling a plug on the live well, and you got to wait for it to drain out. This way I'll be able to pump it out and then use the water when I'm weighing in bass. So this should work. We're probably going to do all the wiring and the lights first, because when I get to this step, it's going to make a mess back here. I'm going to have to pull everything out and crawl back there to run this hose. I got a brand new, I think I got 25 foot. Hopefully it's enough. This is a 3/4 inch marine grade hose, and it's got the metal wire in it so it won't kink. So I should be able to fish this around up in there and get it to where I need it to go without kinking up this hose. I'd hate to get a kink, and then when you pump, you think you're pumping water out or recirculating, and it actually is just filling your hole up with water. You don't want to do that. So that'll be probably later on. Let's get into the wire portion first. All right, I think I've got everything kind of laid out where I want it. And it looks like I am going to use all 20 of these lights, which is kind of nuts, but I think it'll be kind of cool when I get done. You can see that I haven't measured yet. When I start drilling the actual holes, I'll measure, but I just kind of laid them out to see where they would be. I ended up with 4 over here on this sidewall, and these are going to be just flush mounted. You're really not going to be able to see them there. I mean, you'll see the little white circles, but they're small enough that they disappear, you know, after a while. You don't even notice them. But I've got 4 down this side. I'm going to do 4 down this side. And then when you get down to the floor area, I'm going to do 1 here. I'm going to try to keep them directly across from each other. So even with these up here, I'll measure to make sure they're the same distance. I've got a couple here, and then right up under the seat, I keep stepping on them, right up under the seat, I'm going to have 1 here and 1 here just to light up the floor up under our feet. And then when you look back here, I'm going to have 2 on this side, 2 on this side. I don't want to put any directly facing this way off the back wall, and I don't want to put any up here off my front wall facing back this way, because I don't want to have to, if I'm driving at night and I flip them on or whatever, I don't want them to be shining directly in my face if I'm looking forward. And if I'm having to look backwards to check on the motor or look on the deck, I don't want any of them right in my face, if that makes sense. And that ended up leaving me 2 left over here. And I think what I'm going to do is use these 2, since they are waterproof. I think I'm going to use them in the live well. I can mount them up kind of high. This is actually, it looks like 2 live wells, but it's actually 1. This divider here, it's a pretty cool divider, but the water flows through it, but it keeps the fish separated, so I can have, you know, a keep side and a coil side. But what I think I'm going to do is mount 1 light up here at the top backside on the inside facing the water, and the same thing over here. And I'll have these 2 lights on a different switch just for the live well lights. And you know, I may put it on a blue switch and a white switch, or either just have them come on together. I don't know yet, but I think that's what I'm going to do with the last 2 lights. And that'll be all the lights installed for the deck and the live well. Now, all of the lights that I'm going to be putting on the inside this week are going to be different lights. I'm not going to use these same style lights. I've got some different ones coming. They haven't got here yet, but I'm going to try to use those on the inside so that I can see when I'm getting tackle in and out of my tackle box, or if I'm getting a rod out. And the lights I'm going with there are a little bit wider. I think they're a 4-inch light, so I get more light on the inside for being able to get gear and stuff. Now, I just realized, let me climb down here, that I do have kind of a pickle on my drill bits. I was going through my drill bits over here, and there's ways that you can drill these holes in kayaks to use these lights, and it's just fine. And what I mean is I use these drill bits when I'm mounting these in kayaks. It steps up to a 3/4. This one actually goes all the way to a 7/8, but you can stop it right at 3/4. And these work good for kayaks because the walls are super thin on a kayak, but you wouldn't want to use these on a fiberglass boat because the walls are going to be super thick, and the outside of the hole, what'll happen is the outside of the hole will be the 3/4, but the inside will be tapered, and the lights won't fit right. And the way these lights work is, I've got this one popped off. Here's the grommet that is on the outside of the light. That's what it looks like with the light pushed in. But you drill your 3/4 inch hole, and then you push this grommet in. See how it's got that lip and that ridge? This pushes into the boat and it pops in tight, and then you feed your light through that hole, and then once you push it, it actually locks that grommet in place in the boat and locks the light in place so that it doesn't pop out. But if you ever got to change it, you can reach behind the boat and push really hard, and it'll push the light back out and you can get it all back out. But that is going to require an actual hole saw bit at 3/4 inches. I have this from Harbor Freight, and look, 7/8. I thought it went to 3/4, but it does not. My drill bits, I really don't want to use a drill bit because on a fiberglass boat, you want to use hole saw bits so that it keeps from cracking the fiberglass. So I think I'm going to have to make a run to Harbor Freight to pick up the right size bit. All right, y'all, good morning. It is the next day. Let me climb up in here. I had to run and get that bit like I was just telling you guys last night, and I ended up not having to go to Harbor Freight. I found the bit that I needed, and if you guys are wondering what I meant by a 3/4 inch hole saw bit, this is what it looks like. It's got the standard bit in the middle, and it cuts a 3/4 inch hole. So that's the good news. I got it locally. I always like to go local if I can. I love Harbor Freight, but they're really close to me. My local little hardware store is, and it's a family-owned thing, and I was able to just swing by there and pick it up. The bad news is now I've got the drill bit. Now I get to drill 20 holes in my fiberglass boat that are big enough for this 3/4 inch bit to go through. I'm going to start over here on the driver's side of the boat, and I wanted to show you guys a couple of changes that I think I'm going to make this morning before I start drilling the holes. I keep spools of wire like this here. Right now, especially because, I'm rewiring that tiny camper build, or I'm wiring that tiny camper build right now. So I got a lot of wire on hand. I think for these lights, instead of using this wire, I'm going to save this wire for when I'm running the new live well wires and stuff to the new switch panel, and anything that's like a two pole wire. So this is just red and black on the inside. That's another reason I think I'm going to go with this is I already have these colors. I've got the black, white, and blue. This is a 14 gauge. It's good. I use this on, boat trailers and everything. But I'm going to use that because I can color match it, and it's 3 wires instead of just 2. If I use this, I'm going to have to use an extra wire anyway for the, the blue light. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to run this, and what I'm going to do is just drill all my holes. I kind of stole this out of my wife's little sewing kit upstairs so that I could be a little bit more accurate when I'm measuring my distances. I'm going to do this side first, drill my holes, and then just mirror it on that side. And I can use this tape to kind of go with the curve and get the exact measurements so everything matches. And another thing you want to keep in mind whenever you're doing this, for those of you who are watching this and thinking about doing it to your boat, before you drill your holes, make sure you open your hatches, stick your hand back there, because a lot of these old boats, they don't use any kind of conduit to run their wires through the hull. The wires are just in the hull. Most of the time, they're zip tied up in this area here anyway, so you don't want to drill through and then cut in some wires that's running your front lights or your trolling motor or anything like that, because you could really mess up. So just open your hatches, stick your hand back there where it's going, put some gloves on before you stick your hand back there if you're doing a fiberglass boat, because you will be covered in fiberglass by the time you're done doing this by fishing wires and reaching up in there. All right, first hole. This does make a mess, so you definitely want to have a vacuum cleaner handy. And I'm going to vacuum after each hole, but now that should pop in there. And what I did is I used this tape, and I'm starting 4 inches from the end right here, because I don't know if you guys remember, I made all of this, so this should be pretty accurate when I made this front panel. So I measured 4 inches from here over, and then I used this as a guide to get my height off this rubber rail that I've got down here, this little trim piece. And I set it right on top, and I just marked above it, and that's going to leave me a little bit of fiberglass showing right up under the grommet when it's pressed in. So now let me get a vacuum. Let me get this vacuumed up, and then we'll pop in the first light. And then I've only got 19 more holes to do. Wipe it down. I do plan on detailing the boat after all this upgrading's done before I take it out this year, because it needs it pretty bad. But now this will go in here like this. You want to kind of push it from the inside so that it grabs that lip really good, and when you push the light in, it's going to lock it. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. And then the light just feeds in here. Now I want to make sure that this light, and this is just me being picky, it doesn't really matter, no one will ever notice. But see how these lines on this, maybe you can see, maybe you can't, there's lines that go this way. I'm just going to make sure the lines that are going this way and not this way, but you can do it however you want it. And I'm probably going to pull this one back out anyway, because I want to wire, like I mentioned a while ago, I'm going to feed the wire through first. I just wanted to show you how these install. So get it how you want it, and you kind of wiggle and push, and just like that, make sure it snaps in there. And that is waterproof, dustproof, and it's low profile. And once all of these are installed, I'll show you up close how clean it's going to look. There's no screws to deal with, nothing like that. So once all of these are installed around the boat, it should give a nice clean look around the deck all the way around. All right, holes are drilled. I now have 20 extra holes in my fiberglass bass boat, and they turned out pretty good. The measurements, I ended up doing about 4 inches off the front here, and then I set them every 20 inches, I believe, and then I just matched it on this side over here. You can see how good these grommets look once you start wiring them. And I started the wiring, but I'm going to film this little part right here and just show you what I mean. Those of you who are, following along, or you're thinking about doing this to your boat, it's a cheap way to add some really nice lights to your boat. So anyway, I'm starting right here, and I'm going to do a full run this way. And they're going to pigtail out. You can see I've got this one right here with a little loop pulled out, just like you would wire a house for your outlets in your house. I started right here, which is the furthest point around. I'm going to do the back deck a little bit different. I'm going to start over here, and then I'm just going to meet at the fuse box over here instead of making a big circle around the whole boat. But I've got the grommets in all the way around. I've got the floor grommets in. You can see I've got 2 on that side. And can you see those? I got 2 on this side. I've got the 2 underneath the seat. And in order for me to access this one, I've actually got to go through the cup holder, which is fine, because there's a cooler up under this seat with a wall, and I didn't want to go through the cooler. Back here on the back deck, I've got these put in. I got one there. Now this back deck was a lot thinner, on the sidewall, so I had to be careful to make sure that I was able to center it up, and they centered up pretty good. And then I've got 2 more over there, and they should be the same exact over here. And I'll show you, I did put the 2 in the live well, and I don't know if I'll be able to show them to you in here, but let's see. I'm gonna flip you upside down really quick. See the grommet right there? And then there's another one on the other side just like it. And then I'm gonna run those on their own switch. I think when the switch panel gets here, I'm probably gonna flush mount it over there to the side. I don't want to mess up the look of my console, because it's still all factory and it looks pretty good to be a 99, and I don't want to modify that. So I'm just gonna leave this kind of the way it is probably, and unhook from the back so the switches and all will stay there. It'll still look good. It won't look like somebody hacked it, but those will just be inoperable. Everything will be on a push button panel, and I'm probably gonna put that panel right over there when it gets here. Still hadn't got here yet. So what I'm gonna do now is plug in all these lights, get all the wires pulled. I'm waiting on FedEx to run right now. That's another thing that I forgot to mention. I'm going to be upgrading the batteries on this boat this season. They're out for delivery. Hopefully they will arrive. FedEx, I'm finally doing lithium batteries for my trolling motor. I run the Ultra X trolling motor. I'm already running lithium on my graphs and my live scope system. Everything's on lithium except for my trolling motor. I still got lead acid. I know I should upgrade it a long time ago, but we're going to do it in today's video. I got some really nice batteries coming for it. And I might as well do it now while I'm redoing all this wiring and I'm adding new lights. I might as well go ahead and knock that portion out. So we're going to upgrade the batteries when they get here today. Hopefully I can be a few steps ahead and have all these lights installed and ready for, you know, the next thing to get here. So let me get to work and I'll catch back up with you guys here in a little bit. All right, guys, that took way longer than I thought it was going to take, but I've got the lights officially installed and they look great. I do regret not going with the smoke lens. So if you get these, you can get them in the clear lens like this, or you can get a smoke lens where it's a little bit darker. It's not a big deal. I'm definitely not going to swap them out. I'm going with what I got. They look good. I just wish they'd have been the smoke style where they're a little darker. Let me climb up in here. And I do have the wires you can see up under my console. They're all kind of just bundled up right there. We are going to turn them on in just a minute. I'll show you the white and the blue. But before I turn the lights off, I wanted to show you how they look. Just, you know, normally as you look down, you can definitely notice them, but I think it's because I'm looking for them. But I've got everything measured out. You can see they run right down the side. And then this side, they're kind of parallel with each other straight across. And then down here in the floor, you can see I've got this. I know you guys are going to ask why I have these catch mounts in the floor. I run my Yeti cooler right here, and I've got these little tie downs that go there. And when there's not in here, I just leave the tracks on the floor, but that's where I strap my cooler down. But you can see I got a light there. I got them installed under the seat. And then the back ones are installed. And I don't have the wires ran for the live well lights yet. So I'm going to do those after we do the batteries, which thank goodness, since it did take so long, FedEx did run and my new batteries are here. So we're fixing to swap them out. But before we do, I'm going to kill the lights and let me show you how cool this looks. Looks kind of like a UFO. It's, maybe I shouldn't have went with 20 lights, but they're in the boat now. But it is a lot of lights. Let me show you. All right, I got most of the lights off. Dang, that man cave light is way brighter than I thought. Let's go over here. And I think I've got the blue ones plugged in right now. We'll do the blue first. And I just got it on my little Jackery. I mean, not my Jackery, my little Dakota lithium power bank. If I can reach it. Boom. Holy crap. Check this out, y'all. That is, that's a lot of light. Let's see how it's going to look from standing in the boat. But you can see, look at the floor. Holy cow. And this is just the blue. I'm going to plug in the white in just a second and show you how those look. But let's see. If I'm standing back here, holy moly. That is a lot of light. I've got full light in the floor here. I like it. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, it is a lot of light. I'm not going to lie. But it's not like I'm going to be riding around with this. This is just for rigging tackle in the mornings or just being able to see when you're out on the water and it's pitch black outside. Let's show you what it looks like. Looking from here back, holy crap. Man, that looks cool. Let me see if I can swap over really quick to the white. All right, I got the wires switched, so let's kick them on. Boom. Holy crap. Yeah, I will definitely be able to see to rig a line or whatever on the top of the boat. That is a lot of lights. What do you guys think? Was 20 too much? That is crazy. Let me get on the back deck. Wow. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I like it. And I like that I can switch them from the blue to the white. The white definitely offers way more light. You can see the whole floor. You can see the whole deck. I like that a lot. Ever since I restored this boat a couple years back, I have been running lead acid batteries, like I mentioned earlier, for my trolling motor. And it was just a cheaper way for me to get this boat on the water pretty quick. And it's not worth it. Nowadays, the lead acid costs just as much as a lithium battery. You can get a lithium battery just for about the same price as these really heavy and outdated lead acid batteries. And today I'm going to show you why I will be switching these out, and I'll show you what I'm switching them out to. First, I'm going to get one of these out, and I even dread taking them out because they are so, that is the battery we're taking out. And we're probably going to save so much weight in this boat by the time I'm done swapping these batteries out. I don't just have one of these. I have two of these in here. And let's find out how much this thing actually weighs, because I want to compare the weights to the new battery we're putting in today and just see how much weight I'm actually saving. I've got an idea that it's probably going to be like the equivalent of a small human. I stole our bathroom scale because I want to see the weight difference that we're fixing to be swapping out. This battery is so freaking heavy. I guarantee you it's over 50 pounds. So let's do it. Goodness, that's a heavy battery. 59.6 pounds. Can you guys see that? 59.6 pounds. And that's just one battery. So I've got two of these batteries in here. We're going to call them 60 pounds a piece. That is 120 pounds worth of batteries just for my trolling motor. And I've already got two lithium batteries on this side, you know, for running graphs and stuff. I don't need all this extra weight, especially sitting on one side of the boat. So now, let me show you guys what I'm swapping out to. We're going to weigh them and just see how much weight we're actually going to save. Not to mention the benefits of going from lead acid to lithium. These lithium batteries last forever, and they're way more powerful than what you get in these old heavy batteries. So let me show you what I'm getting. God, I don't want to pick this thing up much more. And this is the battery that I'm going with. This is the 12.8 volt, 100 amp hour LiTime battery. It has the 5.0 Bluetooth system built into it. It's got the battery monitoring system in it, or the BMS, that protects this from overheating, over discharge. It's even got an auto recovery mode built into this, so that if something was to happen to it after 30 seconds, the battery will actually reset itself and fix itself. So these are really, really nice batteries. They are a EV grade LiFePO 4 battery. On the Bluetooth app, most batteries that have Bluetooth functions now, all you can do is just view the status of the battery. The LiTime batteries, their app is a really nice app that you download on your phone, and you can actually not just view the status of the battery, but you can make changes. You can turn on and off the battery just by using the app. So it's got some really cool functions. Not to mention, the main reason is they weigh nothing. So let's see what the weight difference is going to be in this. And I'll have this linked in the video description, guys. These are really, really, really nice batteries. They last, I think this battery will do over 4,100% cycles, meaning you can drain this battery down and charge it to 100% over 4,000 times. It's 4,000 plus times, which is the equivalent over 10 plus years. So once you switch to a battery like this, you don't have to buy a new one every 3 or 4 years like you would with a heavy lead acid battery. Not to mention, one of these batteries is the equivalent to 2 of those big batteries that I just took out, as far as like amp rating and stuff like that. So let's see the weight difference. 22 pounds exactly. I don't know if y'all can see that. 22 pounds on the money. So what is that? That is 44 pounds for the two of these. And what was the other one? 60, so 120 pounds. That is a full-grown human that we're going to be removing from this boat, which is crazy. 22 pounds and 100 amp hour battery. And this is a Group 31 battery. So if you're wanting these, this is a trolling motor specific battery. You don't have to use this for trolling motor batteries. I mean, you can use it for whatever you want, but they have a full website where you can go there, go to LiTime, and you can scroll down and pick the exact battery that you would need for your application. But this one even has trolling motor put right on it with the Bluetooth system in it. So check these out. I'll have them linked in the video description, guys. Now let's go pop them in and check out the trolling motor with this thing. I can't believe I'm fixing to gain that much extra weight or lose that much extra weight just by swapping these batteries out. But you can see they don't weigh anything. Every time I get in the boat, I turn the lights on and look at them. I can't wait till that switch panel comes in that I'm installing. I wish I could have done it for you guys in this week's episode, but stay tuned if you like these bass boat restoration stuff. I'm planning to do probably another one this spring after I finish the tiny camper build. For those of you who are waiting on the next episode of that build, the weather's just too bad for me to work on it outside right now, even though I got the carport. It's just freezing rain outside right now, and I got to do some welding up under it and get the steps and all mounted. So stay tuned. That's coming once the weather clears up. But I do plan on doing another bass boat restoration this year. I want to try to find one that's pretty rough with a decent motor on it that we can fully restore like we did this one, the carpet, gel coat floors and all. And I'll probably do that. Let me know what you think about these lights. I really, really like these. Hopefully that switch panel will be here next week, and I can film the next episode, kind of the part 2 to this one, where I show you guys how you can install a push-button system for a boat. We're going to rewire the whole thing. I was going to go ahead and drop these new LiTime batteries in today, but I'll probably have to need that space, and I'd have to pull them back out anyway, because I'm fixing to start this guy right here. Now, I was going to do this in this video with you guys, this pump-out kit, but I think this video is probably already over 30 minutes long, and I don't want to bore you guys with me climbing in and out of this hatch to do this. So I'm probably going to go ahead and knock this out, and I'm going to show it to you in next week's video whenever we do the rest of the wiring, because I've got a lot of wiring to do. I'm going to do my navigation lights, my anchor LED pole back there in the back. I'm putting some ports in for my camera plugs so that I can run cameras on the boat. So I'm going to be doing all that in next week's video once the rest of the stuff gets here. And whenever I do, I'll show you how this turned out. It's just going to be me running these hoses and climbing in and out of the back there. I got a mess of wires to clean out to do that. So guys, if you're new to my channel and you like content like this, I upload new videos every Monday at 6 p.m. on my channel. So if you like it, hit subscribe, stay tuned, and I will catch you guys next Monday at 6 o'clock. Peace.